you, sir. Thank you, organizer, for giving this opportunity. So, moving towards again the more evidence towards the adjuvant therapy, and specifically those who are having EGFR positive early lung cancer. So, as already said, the 5-year survival for this resectable lung cancer varies, and from stage 1B, where it is around 60-70%, comes down to around 30% in stage 3A. So why EGFR therapy? So as we are aware, EGFR mutation is one of the most common mutation in non-small cell lung cancer, and incidence varies from around 10 to 20% in European and American region to around 30 to 50% in Asian patients. So based on the evidences now, at least in resectable lung cancer patients, these two markers are recommended. That is to test for EGFR and PD-L1 all patients who are resectable, having a resectable lung disease, because for these, there is now a fair number of data to suggest we can suggest some perioperative additional systemic therapy. And coming to the prevalence of EGFR mutation in early lung cancer, so based on this early EGFR study, you can see that almost half of the population who are having a resectable lung cancer shows EGFR mutation, and among these EGFR mutations, the exon 19 deletion is the most common, followed by the exon 21. So around 50% are having a, exon 19 deletion, followed by around 40% is exon 21 mutation. So coming to the pattern of treatment, these EGFR positive resectable lung cancer, so almost 75%, almost 3/4 of the patients generally receive the standard of care, that is surgery. And among those patients who are eligible, that is stage 2 and stage 3 patients who should receive some adjuvant treatment, only 46.3% have received some adjuvant systemic therapy. So less than half of the population are receiving adjuvant therapy, because in adjuvant setting, giving chemotherapy is not always very easy. So if only these patients are receiving only surgery or some plus minus chemotherapy, the outcome is that almost more than half of the population, around 60%, will reoccur, and the recurrence is commonly a distant metastasis. So that even though we start these patients as a curative and we treat with the curative intent, but in less than 5 years, they develop some metastasis and become incurable disease. So this was the unmet need to consider some additional therapy in these EGFR positive resectable lung cancer patients. So as Suhas already said regarding chemotherapy, there are multiple adjuvant studies which were very well organized, randomized phase 3 studies, followed by the LACE meta-analysis, which has shown these patients get benefit around 5% if we add adjuvant chemotherapy in early resectable lung cancer patients. And regarding the EGFR TKI therapy, again there are 5 to 6 randomized studies, but again these studies were not very well modeled. They had select limited number of patients. The duration of the treatment was not uniform. Some had received 1 year, some have received 2 years of adjuvant TKI therapy. The drug was, sometimes it was first generation drugs, erlotinib or gefitinib. But in all study, you can see that all study has just shown that there was a definite improvement in DFS, but there was no any study which has shown any improvement in overall survival. So again, coming to the meta-analysis of all these results, here you can see that the meta-analysis also, there was a good hazard ratio of 0.52 with very narrow confidence interval not crossing the unity. But for OS, even though the hazard ratio is 0.64, but the confidence interval is very wide, from 0.22 to 1.89. So again, there was no any conclusion regarding the benefit of giving adjuvant EGFR therapy in patients who are EGFR positive resectable lung cancer. So these were the flaws till now for all EGFR TKI adjuvant therapy trials, because trials was limited in power because they included very small number of patients. There was no any clear-cut OS benefit, so it leads to only the delay in the recurrence, not any definitive cure. And then to overcome this, the ADAURA trial was planned, and it was trial schema which included all patients who are more than 18 years with good performance status, having confirmed driver mutation, either exon 19 deletion or exon 21 mutation. And then these patients were randomized in 1:1 to receive either osimertinib 80 mg for 3 years against placebo. And the primary endpoint was the DFS, in stage 2 to stage 3A population with multiple secondary endpoints, that is DFS in overall population including 1B to 3A, and DFS rates and OS and safety and health related quality of life outcomes. So this was the initial results. We can see that, and this was recently updated in the ESCO 2023. So the DFS benefit which was seen in the initial interim analysis remained persistent over 5 years of period with a very significant hazard ratio of 0.23 and 0.27 in either stage 2 3A patients or overall population. So with this significant hazard ratio, so it and the magnitude of benefit, that is more than 50% DFS benefits over the standard of care. So it has become standard in and recommended guideline, but still everyone has a question regarding the what will be the overall survival outcome. So as you are aware, osimertinib is the one drug among the EGFR TKIs which is having a very good brain penetrance, and most of these EGFR positive patients generally relapse. Almost 1/3 of the patients will relapse in the brain. So in the analysis that shown it has good CNS outcome even in patients who are having a resectable lung disease. So coming to the survival, so this was recently updated in the ESCO 2023. So at 5 years still the maturity is yet to reach, but the trend towards the survival benefit is there, with the absolute benefit of 12% at 5 years, with 85% are still alive against 73% in the placebo arm, with a significant hazard ratio of 0.49, and this is in stage 2 and stage 3A. But in overall population as well, you can see that including 1B, the hazard ratio is same 0.49 with the absolute benefit of 10 years. And in subgroup analysis again, you can see that the benefit will remain persistent across the group from 1B to 2 to 3A population. And not only the stage, in either EGFR mutation, whether it's exon 19 deletion or exon 21, the benefit is same, and also whether patient has received adjuvant chemotherapy or not, they will also have a same benefit even if they are not able to receive any chemotherapy in the adjuvant setting. And coming to the subsequent therapy, again in both the arms, almost 22% patient in the osimertinib arm and 54% patient in the placebo arm have received subsequent anti-cancer treatment, and the most common treatment received was the EGFR TKIs. And again among the EGFR, the osimertinib was the most commonly used drug in subsequent treatment on relapse. So again, as we all aware, there is no any red alarm signal in terms of the safety, and hardly 20% of patients had some more than grade 3 adverse event which was manageable, and there was no any death related to the osimertinib treatment. So key points from this talk is that as we know, even these resectable lung cancer patients are curable, so but their outcome is poor at longer term, so they need some additional treatment. And for this, all these patients should be tested for the minimum recommended, that is EGFR and PD-L1, and even these are very early tumors, but still they need a multidisciplinary discussion regarding the optimum treatment management. And as we know, the optimum goal is survival. So, and now the osimertinib is showing at longer term definitely improvement in survival. So these patients should be offered osimertinib whenever there is a EGFR positivity, and if osimertinib is feasible. Thank you.